we're gonna do a full. We'll do a full review maybe next week. It's kind of my tentative next show plan is to do a full review of Update 53. But hey, give us you want to give us your 1 minute version of how you think Update 53 is?
I enjoy the raid. The maze can can be a little troubling at times, but the raid overall is good. I like the mechanics. There's a lot going on. I think it needs to be uh, tuned a little bit. There's some damage that
Sure.
is just to me overtuned, and that needs to be revisited. I've only read the quests each once a piece, so I um, don't really have an opinion of those yet. So but overall, I like the raid and I like the cosmetics. They're great.
Yeah, you were sporting some of them.
Yes, it
You had
was.
the Wild Hunt guy's outfit, and it was like full on set, right?
Not the armor,
Oh, okay.
but yes, I had the helm and the shield and all of that.
Yeah.
It looks good, so more of that. Would love stuff like that in the future, which they've been really doing a good job with cosmetics overall
Yeah,
for the past
I'd
couple of
agree.
years.
Um, I might even say a little too good because I I'm up to two full characters of holding on to cosmetic stuff.
Well, you're in luck because in just a few months you'll have
Yeah.
more character space.
Hopefully. What are you at, like four
Hopefully.
characters holding stuff?
No, but I've purchased all 260 shared bank slots and stuff like that. So I've
Yeah.
got two characters for cosmetics, and yeah, just do what I
It's
can.
bloated. Yeah. I I don't know. The quests are not going to be in my normal rotation, I think. Um the quest with like the teleporty mechanic between the different, like, just circling back around the areas. Uh like once by the time I left, like, it was less annoying than it was before and less confusing than it was before. But it's still kind of like, do I really
Yeah,
need a, like, serious attempt to by a game design to keep me lost and disoriented?
it felt very Inferno of the Damned to me, and it took me like probably I don't remember my completion time, but it was long. So
I don't even think of it as Inferno of the Dam, because Inferno of the Dam, there's a logic to it, right? Like, it's just a circle with two versions that you flip back and forth between.
sure.
Same as Mirror. Like, I actually like those quests, and it's really simple. This one, there's no, like, because you're teleporting to different areas. There's no connection to it. Like, it's just go to a different
Well,
space, and then go to a different space, and then go to a different
once
space,
I
and then kind of
noticed
circle
that
around them.
there was a identifier on the mini map showing you which door opened, it got easier for me.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the one saving grace, I think, from that.
but also, fun fact, I killed the mobs too quickly in that raid, and I thought it was bugged. But it took it probably took 30 seconds to a minute for the end fight to complete, even though everything was dead.
That's
And
funny.
yeah,
Yeah, the raid I have mixed feelings on. I don't want to say it's a bad raid, but it's the least good raid that I think they've released in a couple of years. Not that they've released a lot of raids, but um,
yeah, I okay. Tell me why.
um, I find the maze to be kind of aggravating. Not from a mechanic standpoint, but from like a confinedness standpoint. Like, the walls are, it's such a small, skinny space
And it
for a
sucks on the
maze.
map.
Yeah, right. Like, I find that to be kind of aggravating. Like, I
I agree
really
with you there.
like it. I think the mechanic is fine. The design of the idea is fine. It's just, like, so constrained, and, like, the walls are so close. So, and you're changing direction so much that because of how close it is, it's really easy to disorient yourself and think you turned around, but then you didn't. You actually did a 360, or turned back around. So I find that a little aggravating. Um, the cold the cold dot is I find inconsistent. The damage doesn't seem problematic, but like how you reset the dot is I have found to be very inconsistent. Like I don't understand what the mechanic is to reset that cold dot
So I can
because
help you out there
okay, go
because
ahead.
we completed R5 a couple days ago and did R10 today, and we did the maze. And so it turns out that she has to be actively attacking one person. So I thought to begin with that everybody had to like become within a certain proximity of her and wait for your dot to clear, but that's not actually true. So we even had an instance where we wiped and a person rezzed and she wasn't active, so dots were still ticking. So later on in the raid, like Gunga had her aggro, and it was just him and Conrad there with her. And as long as someone has her aggro, no one else in the raid will get a dot, no matter where you are.
Then I don't understand her aggro mechanics because I would think that she would be aggroing on someone when there's like 10 people beating on her, but I don't know.
It should, yes, but there's
Yeah.
also
Maybe
like
we're going
so
through that too fast, so
yeah, so there
yeah.
was periods we had to actively slow down attacking or she would have ported to give for some reason to give that mechanic time to catch up and
hmm
the dots disappear. But I agree with you overall about the maze. It's my least favorite part of the raid.
I also and this may be a like you kind of talked about tuning. I don't hate the mechanic of souls, the souls that pop down. I find them to be either they are coming too often in too high of numbers or they do too much damage. It seems to be
Yeah,
too much of a draw to pull away uh from your focus. Uh
especially on lower difficulties, I agree it's gonna be really tough for pugs to, or at least from my experience, that's going to be a tough part for pucks to do well.
yeah.
And if I were to suggest a change for it, maybe in the higher difficulties, leave it alone. But especially for like normal hard, they should do less damage so that if one or two are missed, it's not going to wipe out.
It's not catastrophic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially at the end where he's doing 9 souls. That's a lot for a
Mhm.
pug group to cover.
And I don't understand why they don't use more punitive. I mean, they do use this in a lot of different areas. I don't understand why they don't do more punitive incremental things, right? Like where it hits you, and if it hits you again, it does more damage. If it hits you again, it does more damage. Which is weird because that's true in this raid too. Like the souls just seem like a really great place for that. Like I think they should use that in general on mechanic stuff more. By which I mean
Yeah.
like the souls are a great place. I think if you get hit by one, big deal, right? Like it's not gonna do a whole lot of damage, uh, but maybe it spikes your damage up. So if you get hit,
Yeah.
if there's 5 souls that are uncovered, okay, you're gonna die. But
Well,
if one or two, it might hurt, but it's not gonna wipe the whole party, kind of a
that
thing.
is such a good idea that they've actually implemented it. So if you get hit by a soul, you do get a debuff, and it makes you more susceptible to sonic damage. But I think the problem is that you're already
You're getting hit
taking a
too
shit
much.
ton of. Yeah,
Sure, yeah. I still have a beef with Legendary Master Artificer that the electric floor doesn't do that. Like people just
right.
ignore the electric floor, and that ruins the mechanic, which I think is a great
Right.
mechanic. But
Well, I think overall, so I do like the souls. I like that there's a lot going on in the boss fight because
hmm
that's one reason I like KT is there's so many mechanics that you have to pay attention to, and that's what I appreciate is when raids force a group to actually learn instead of ignoring what's going on. But yeah, I would agree with you. The souls generally hit too hard, and the force damage from the boss is just even on normal that guy, if he gets a double strike, I mean, you're talking about 3k force damage, and
you
that's going
know,
to be
I
tough
I
for
have
Pug.
not found that as someone who's tanks, I have not actually found the boss to be that problematic. Because you can get out of the way of his charge. Like he gives you a signal for his charges, his special attacks, and they're pretty easy to avoid. At least you're paying attention. I don't understand why I've seen more people that are not the tank getting killed by that charge. Well, I've like called it and just like they just like get smacked by the charge because they're not fighting behind the guy. I don't understand why this is killing people. Anyways, but I've held on to the guy for a long period of time tanking. So like from a tank perspective, I don't have an issue with how much damage he's doing. Now, you probably need a tank, which is fine. Like I don't have an issue with that.
Well, so the thing about force damage though is that you can't mitigate it. There's
You can a little bit, but again, like I've taken the damage, right? Like we just ran it this afternoon on hard, and I was the last guy standing for a fair chunk of time actually before he finally he didn't kill me, the souls killed me. Like I lasted from one group of souls to the next group of souls without him killing me, without really having healing basically. Or maybe it
well,
was the guys got me. I don't remember. Something to that effect, right? But
I wouldn't throw you in the category of.
okay, fair.
So that's my point. Is I still think pugs are gonna have a tough time handling him on normal and hard.
But that's my cheap tank, right? Like that's my poor man bear tank. Like that's not a hard thing to achieve. So I don't know the damage is the place where I'm losing, where I'm feeling it's not tuned right is it we can't a pug, like even not really a pug but a staticky rady group, not a super high tier one, but like they're having problems doing enough DPS to kill the boss before the souls wipe everybody and and you lose control. So that's where I think the tuning is. And I think if the souls, if there weren't as many souls to deal with, I think it would be less of an issue.
Well, there's 9. When he gets like 15% or less, it's just
Yeah.
9 at that point. And again, that is a lot. But yeah, I don't know.
And
I
if you
guess
have
it's not.
if you have more than, if there's 9, right? If you have more than 3 people dead, you're gonna take one, and if that is killing half your party in one shot, then there's an issue there. So, yeah, I don't. Maybe spawn them more often and have less numbers or something. I don't know what the answer is.
I think they spawn enough as it is, but yeah, I don't know. They and also the circles that spawn can be problematic because there's been more than one situation or more than one circumstance where you have a soul
And a
and a
circle.
circle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which might be intended, like place the boss somewhere, but that's difficult.
Okay, but if one of those souls is gonna kill half the party and you put a circle on it, that feels kind of cheaty for sure. Yeah.
For everyone listening, you can spell absorb the circles, so that is something I learned from our tanks.
Helpful.
Yeah, it's helpful because then at that point I don't have to choose between the soul and the circle, but it's still aggravating.
Yeah. So, all that to say, like, I don't hate the raid. It's just like a lot of the other raids that have come out recently, I really kind of like. So, I think I like Dryad better than this, which feels weird.
I would flip this too. I was not a fan of Dryad. I'm still not, but
Sure.
to each their own.
They're pretty close though. Like those are.
Yeah.
If you look at the raids that have come out recently, like probably even since Baba, like Dryad and Hunter Be Hunted, are bottom 2. I think the raid that I like less than those is RSO. That's the last time a raid came out that I like less than those 2. So
yeah, I don't care for RSO just because it's too long, and it is grueling. But my favorite raids in the game are KT and Strahd. So if anyone's wondering where I'm coming from as a perspective, those are kind of like my bar for what I look for in a raid, and it'd be nice one day when something tops that for me.
it is kind of satisfying, right? When there's a raid that you like better that comes out that's better than your favorite raid.
Yeah, and hopefully, again, one day that will happen, and it'll be great.